Hello, all you amazing noble warriors. Thank you so much for tuning in to Awake, Free, and Ready. There are so many rabbit holes to go down this week. It was hard to pick which one. But I realized that the agenda of "you will have nothing and be happy" is no longer a WEF catchphrase from just a couple years ago. But we are now seeing signs that we are at the beginning stages and rollout of this agenda. And I wanted to shed some light on it today. But before I do, if you have yet to do so, please subscribe to the channel and join us over on our Facebook group. And if you're called to support the work we're doing here, click the link to our Patreon page. And of course, give us a comment below. Your thoughts and your feedback really matter. Okay, let's get right to the program. You've heard of it now for 2 years, that sickly catchphrase of the globalist elite: you will own nothing and be happy. Sadly, much of the people are still under the spell that this could actually refer to some utopian wonderland that the World Economic Forum is planning for the good of the species. It's under the guise of helping humanity and the planet to a cooperative equilibrium of economic and environmental sustainability. Of course, this is how it is to be sold. For our good, and for the greater good of all. In Klaus Schwab's book, The Great Reset, he described virtually every scenario that played out in the buildup and rollout of the pandemic. It describes how the resulting economic fallout on a global scale would decimate the financial powers of many countries, businesses, and most of the population's purchasing power. How incredibly prophetic, don't you think? Not just a little bit, but pretty much to the letter. Yeah. Then there will be a need to rebuild, to help the world recover from this incredible mess that they created. But we'd have the opportunity to do it with a kinder, gentler, and more holistic approach. To build back better. Do you think all the leaders just happen to think of that one line as a catchy slogan? No. They got it from the annual trip to Davos for their World Economic Forum.
Workers and businesses. Then we can start to build back better than before.
But it is undoubtedly an opportunity for us to work together and build back better.
Build back better.
As the world recovers, we have a chance to reset the clock and build back better than before.
Building back better means getting support to the most vulnerable.
Wants to build back better.
Build back better. So, what does build back better really mean? What they are doing is purposely ensuring that we do not remember the past, because we just might remember that we've seen this scenario before, and it did not turn out well for so many. What they are proposing is a collectivist idea that takes personal ownership out of the equation. Now, this is where the government, in conjunction with a few multinational corporations, will dictate policy to be the guardians and stewards of the citizenry. Yeah. Now, sadly, most of the sleeping masses will be lulled into seeing this plan as a benevolent gesture of goodwill and compassion. They will see it as a great idea because it takes the pressure and worry off their minds. So, create a dire situation and then create the solution and come in as the savior, and the frightened masses will be eating from your hand. But in this case, literally. It's classic psychological warfare. Plus, a campaign is underway to plant seeds into the minds that ownership, spending money, and consumerism are wrong and not good for the planet. Ownership of land, vehicles, and investments will be viewed as passé, greedy, and selfish. Those that don't comply will be shamed and vilified, much like they did with the vaccine and mask mandates. Perhaps they will amp up their efforts to roll out the social credit system, much like they have in China. This is where every good and noble deed deemed good for the collective by the government amps up your options. Being a landowner or a car owner or not sharing nicely drops your score, making you an outcast and unable to freely move within the system.
They're constantly monitored by facial recognition cameras that are able to instantly put a face to a name. Now the Chinese are also ranked, given a mark out of a possible 950 points. A score in the 700s is considered good. Around the 500 mark is not. The state will go over every detail of a person's life with a fine-tooth comb. Their financial situation, spending habits, career, even behavior on social media. Criticizing the government online or displaying outward signs of wealth is a no-no. On the other hand, praising the party or giving blood increases your social credit. A good score brings benefits, but people with low scores lose rights. The cinema names and shames people considered untrustworthy, plastering their details, even their addresses, across big screens.
It's a matter of principle. Those people have to be condemned.
Those people aren't honest, so they have to pay the price.
Now, essentially, it's forcing you to comply and to conform. This is Marxism, pure and simple. And they will be selling it as being a collectively owning nothing, but only the powers that be will have all the ownership. Yeah. So you are now witnessing the first wave of the rural land grab. It is hidden under the guise of net zero. They will make it impossible for farmers to meet climate change targets, such as what's happening right now in the Netherlands. They will essentially drive them into ruin and offer them a buyback or a loan program with very easy terms, but then change the parameters that make it impossible for the landowners to make the payments. They'll do the same thing with rising interest rates and massive corrections in the housing market, thereby defaulting on the loans, allowing the government to seize the land or the property and give it to their mega agri-corporations and friends to manage the land as they see fit. There will be a debt payoff system that will have the appearance of freeing the people from the burden of debt, only to enslave them into a more tyrannical and dystopian system that they never thought possible. Now, Canada just released a form of this debt slavery system to the farmers, and on the surface it looks really tantalizing. But did they ever ask the taxpayers if they could do this with their tax dollars? No, they didn't. The utopian ideology of you'll have nothing and be happy is not what they want. No, in short, this is an agenda to take everything folks have so that they are sedated, hypnotized, and brainwashed, perhaps even imprisoned into the metaverse that they only think that they're happy. This is sounding a lot more like the Matrix every single day. Now, I'm all about the utopian reality for humanity, but we have to imagine that our collective light is brighter than you can imagine. And I don't believe that we are heading for this dystopian nightmare. This might be the great reset for their world, but it's the great awakening for ours. So many souls have awakened and have had their eyes opened wide to the truth over the past 2 years than in any other time in history. So I do not feel that you and I are headed down this apocalyptic path. Not like they're forecasting. Yes, it's going to be very uncomfortable, especially for those still plugged into the system. But because of your awareness, your courage, and faith, you will persevere and you will inherit something truly magical. I believe that. Okay, that's what I got for you today. I hope this was of value to you and you enjoyed the show. If you did, please pay it forward and like, share, and subscribe. And of course, leave us a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback on this topic. Remember, you are here to awaken your soul, free your mind, and get ready for what's next. All right, much love to you, crazy noble warriors. Have the best day. We'll talk to you soon. Cheers.